Awards and recognition, the first thing we do, Dr. Bound, the student spotlight, Rick Nuñez.
All right, Rick Nuñez, if you come to the podium.
Hello, everybody.
Great opportunity to spend time with him, and so please tell us your story.
So before I get started with my story, I want to say congratulations to the new board members, Don, Mark, and Joy. I hope it's okay if I use your first names.
Yes.
I will shout out Mark first. You won me a game of Jeopardy recently. I'm guessing who you were, so you got me some free stuff. Thank you so much for that. Dawn, I feel like I'm meeting a local celebrity. I see you everywhere, I've saw you everywhere for a good while. So hello, and just a pleasure to meet everybody. But my name is Rick Nuñez. I'm a second-year student here at JCCC. Recently made the switch from the business program over to the graphic design program. And besides that, I am a father, I'm a husband and a father. This is not my first stint in college. This is my second time coming around to college, so I guess I am a non-traditional student. But I'm proud to say that I will say, for the longest time, I thought very negatively of my first experience in college, but thinking back on it now, I find it to be a very positive experience. It taught me that after, just because you try once, it doesn't work out, you can come back and try again, and it could be a different story this time around. And it has been a different story. I hate to make myself big here, but I was on the honor roll last semester, 2 semesters ago, which is very uncommon of me if I was talking to my 20-year-old self when the first time in college. So I'm very prideful, and I think the biggest change was the school, to be honest, and the professors I surrounded myself with, and the people I associated with on top of that. When I walked in here, I saw these little mottos along the wall, and the one that really stood out to me was student-centered, which I 100% totally back on that. Based on my history, I didn't have the greatest perception on school and the faculty that worked here. But after being here, like I said, for a few years now, I have had the honor of being a student advisor or sit-in on the business board as well. And I've met nothing but great people there. And I've actually got to see how some curriculum gets rolled out and how it gets curated. And when I see that student-centered, I, again, 100% back it. The question is always asked, how is this going to benefit the students? And I find that super amazing. So, I have a newfound faith in the system, education system, or at least here at JCCC. And so far, you guys haven't let me down. And it's been nothing but a joyous ride. And you guys have me for 2 more years, so give me a call. If you need anything, I'll be around. That's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'd love questions if anybody has questions.
We always have questions. Do any trustees have any questions? Trustee Smith Everett? That's called a no-look. That's a no-look recognition.
I always have questions. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. Thank you so much for suffering through our very boring board elections, but we appreciate you being here. Tell us a little bit about where you were before this, either high school or just regionally, or why you say that you really made that transition from not the way you were in your young 20s to now.
I think I grew up a lot. Part of being a dad is you learn a lot from your kids somehow, some way. I don't know how that works, really. I can't explain it, how I learned from my son, but I have, and somehow it's shaped me to be more of a responsible adult. I think it has to do with me wanting more for my son, or me, let's see here. Yeah, me wanting more for him, and me wanting him not to make the same mistakes that I made growing up. So I think that's changed me immensely, to be honest with you. But in addition to that, I think after spending 10 years in the workforce and climbing the corporate ladder to a position I describe as extremely successful for what I thought I was going to be, I quickly learned that a little hard work goes a really long way. So then I was like, well, what if I do a lot of hard work? Where can I end up then? So that's my goal now. I'm putting in a lot of work to hopefully retire in 10 years. So that is my goal. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Trustee Kustin.
Yes, thank you for being here tonight and for all your hard work. Tell me, how did you come to find out about JCCC, and what prompted you to walk in the door and enroll?
Okay. Well, I found JCCC through adulting, as I say. When you're an adult, you go for the most. You shop around. You learn to be savvy with your money and penny pinch it quite a bit. So besides the value of JCC, I mean, the value was what attracted me to JCCC here. But what really got me in the door was a lot of phone calls, a lot of close relatives about. During the pandemic, that's all we had, phone calls. I think a lot of us went through that. So called a lot of close relatives and kind of asked them, I'm going through a career change. What do you think the best move is? And 9 out of 10 said, go back to school. It's the best choice you could make. But yeah, so a combination of value and then people just pushing me to go back to school. And you guys being in my backyard, I only live a couple minutes away too. So that really helps.
Trustee Rattan.
I love your perseverance. I always say try and try again, and always have a plan B. So I love that your articulation of that, and I hope that there are some people in your life that you can turn around and give back to and advise that. My question is, you said you are in graphic design. What do you love about graphic design? What led you to that?
So I've always loved drawing, to be honest. But one day I told Andy this. One day I was sitting at the dinner table with my son and my wife. My wife is a nurse, and my son is ranting on about how everybody has a thing in life. Everybody has their thing. His friend Colin, his thing is to not be so fond of sit-down learning time. Himself, my son, his thing is Fortnite. My wife's thing is caring for people because she's a nurse. And then I asked him, well, what's my thing, He said, well, you love to draw, Dad. Look at all the napkins. You're drawing all over the place. You're doodling all the time. And I said, well, that's 100% true. I do love to doodle. I call it not paying attention, but you're calling it doodling. You're calling it everything else under the sun. So yeah, we'll roll with that. And that's honestly what took me to graphic design, my son.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Trustee Cross.
Yes, how old is your son?
He's 10.
Is he your only?
He's my only, yes.
My wife's a graphic designer, and I remember when President Clinton came to Wichita in 1997, I remember watching him on the dais, and I thought he was taking notes. And at that time, I actually didn't like him. But I thought he was so smart, he's sitting there taking notes, and then come to find out later, he was doodling.
Yep.
And he would doodle with his other hand. He was left-handed, so he doodled with his right hand.
Interesting.
To feel different parts of his brain work.
That's very interesting.
One last question, if I may. Where did you get that jacket?
So besides being a student here, I also work as part of the student life department. So I actually make the marketing material for a lot of the events you guys see here. So yeah, this is where I got the vest. And my boss, Cassie Jordan, gave it to me.
Can we buy those? Or?
And we get one that says trustee. I like that.
Well, I'm sure we can find one. I'm sure we can work it out. I'm sure we can find some space in the budget for that.
Medium.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Rick. We have a great student in Dr. Brown's tradition to bring somebody. You are another one that inspires all of us. And I would just like to say, when you go home, would you please thank your wife for her service as a nurse?
I will. She will.
Always, but for the last 2 years and for what's to come. Thank her for us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I do appreciate it, guys.